r/AskReddit. You suddenly have all the money you'll ever want or need in your life. What's the first thing you do with your newfound wealth? Tell my wife, so she can leave her job. I love your response. Not thinking of what you want, but thinking about your wife's freedom of a job I'm assuming she hates. You're the best kind of husband. Are you single? He will be when she divorces him and takes half the money. Half of infinite? And their kids will have infinite money. Yep, we can blame her for money losing its value. No, kids won't have infinite money. Op only gives all the money you will need in your lifetime. Want/need. So all the money you could ever spend. Not infinite, but effectively so. Calling dead to work. Hello. Good morning. This is John Doe. I can't come into work ever again. I died. Alright, but you'll need a doctor's certificate. My doctor said you would say that. He wanted me to tell you to go fuck yourself. Damn it, John. Your dealer is not a doctor, no matter what he says. Yeah, but he said that you can't be trusted. Not tell a soul. I hear that. I'd buy a little house, 3-bedroom, and act like I'm paying rent. I'd continue to work and live life as normal. Only I'll be able to do so much more with my kids without worrying about money. I'd travel every summer. We'd go on weekend trips all the time. I'd hire someone to clean and cook so I can have my weekends. People may wonder where the money comes from. They don't need to know about my house cleaners and chef. I'd say I got a raise and my rent is super cheap because of HUD or something. You'll definitely look like a drug dealer. That's fine. As long as they aren't asking me to pay this and that and all pay off my house. Buy me a house. Take me on a trip. Give me. It would also weed out some people in my life. Those who could care less and love me no matter what will stay. Others will run for the hills and I'd wave goodbye as they ran. And if the authorities got involved, then I'd have nothing to worry about because I'm not selling drugs. And those who reported me can get their panties in a bunch because nothing came of their tattling tales. Buy a private island really close to civilization. Build a cozy little home and raise some chickens. Just make sure it's got an elevation at least 58 meters above current sea level. He's got all the money he'll never need. He could relocate his house every year. With that much money, they could just raise the island or lower the sea level a few meters. Go back to sleep. Dude, same. I wouldn't have to worry about anything, so I can just sleep till I'm rested. Just woke up and it sounds so nice. But nope, gotta go to work. I wouldn't need to go to school. Waking up at 5 is slowly killing me. What school starts before 6? Lucky not mine, but I have to get a shower and eat something before with a 15-minute drive to get there and all of that take like an hour and a half. The school starts at 7. I just like to have a little bit of buffer time in case I'm running late. Because I have had many people say the same thing. I'm gonna do an edit real quick. I also do other things in the morning. I have some chores to do, and I also leave a short amount of time in case I run behind. About 10 to 15 minutes. Dude, you gotta streamline that process. I gotta be at work at 430 am, and I get up at 350 am. I gotta be to work at 6 am, and I wake up at 6 am. It's all about the velocity out the door. Time travel is possible when 10 extra minutes of sleep are concerned. I gotta be at work at 8 am, and I don't wake up until probably 2 pm. My unconscious carcass does wander around the office for those hours though, and nobody seems to notice. My best guess is because they are all sleepwalking too. Go to a dentist and a doctor. Edit. To satiate the curiosity of many people here, I'm going to say I'm from South America, living in a first world country, not USA, and I don't see country X or Y as the problem. The thing is, when you have big corporations with enough money to bribe lawmakers, it gets to a point where sodas that ruin your teeth are cheaper than water. It gets to a point where insurance companies make it not worth for you to fight for your rights in court. And after they settle in country X, the next step is moving to country Y. Let that sink in and stop voting for the old dogs in your backyard politics. We all live in the same rock floating in space. I'd go to all the doctors, not just for a checkup and basic health, but the ones where I can be like sometimes when I yawn my jaw clicks, and I'd fix whatever that non-problem is. Then I'd go to nutritionists, physical therapists, and trainers to take all the guesswork out of my health going forward. That's pretty much why celebrities are so perfect seeming. They do exactly this. Yeah, I bet Keira Knightley often visits her jaw doctor. That shit's on point. Does she visit the doctor nightly? Like most people said, I'd pay the debts of my parents and buy a stair lift, since my father is bound to the wheelchair most of the time. Also, the debt of our ex-neighbor. I didn't really know the guy before he moved away, but he was in a major accident and injured his back a few years ago. It's just a guy in his late 30s who never married his girlfriend because he couldn't afford it, because he can't work anymore. I know he had to get a loan about 2 years ago, and I guess he will never be able to pay it back. He was always nice to my dad, which not many people are. They don't want to put up with a disabled guy who isn't up for nonsense. I guess it's just a small sum and I wouldn't ever want him to know it was me, but I would like to lift a burden off someone I know has a hard time carrying it. You sound like a really kind person. My parents can retire. Always said if I ever made it rich and famous the first thing I'd do is pay off my parents' house, but my mom can keep working, so she has spending money because that lady likes to shop, and I ain't funding that. Also, people just sitting around will die a lot faster. Keeping busy is way better. Just enable them to do something they enjoy doing. Or, and this is a wild one, without work you'd have more time to keep busy doing things that you actually want to do and probably keep you fitter. Especially if, like me, you sit at a desk. I'm pretty sure alternate universe me that isn't in this job will survive longer than this universe me who already has my childhood back pains coming back in my early 20s. I always have the less convo with my GF, and she is firmly on the I'd keep working side of the fence. Meanwhile, I can think of 1000 things I'd rather be doing or practicing instead of working. Finally time to record that album, become a tournament fisherman, clear out my game backlog, read all the books in my library, get in the best shape of my life, etc. That's great if you have the internal motivation to do that, but for a lot of people there's a lot more than the lack of time preventing them from dedicating themselves 100% to fulfilling their dreams. There's a huge difference between being able to say, if I didn't have to work all day I'd totally spend 4 hours a day in the gym, and actually choosing to go to the gym for 4 hours every day, when you could just be sitting at home doing nothing. See this with several friends. When they finished high school/university, they had all these dreams of what they'd do when they had the time, and instead they just ended up falling into a slump of sitting at home doing nothing for a few months/years until they got jobs/back into education to get structure back into their lives. Having the motivation to keep doing stuff you don't need to do, especially when you hit the dips where it stops being fun, is crazy hard. I just want a home tucked away in the woods on a creek I can fish would be nice. I never appreciated it as a kid, but I miss the hell out of it now. Saving for exactly this right now. A rural property in the woods of my family own a sap. Large enough so I can manage to throw a 123G stone at least 38 times in either direction. To finally have some peace from others and not have to cope with your dog barking, your kids yelling, your husband burping, your lawnmower, your power drill, your quad bike, your ski-doo, and all of your ilk antics. Just a home that comes with some serious peace and serenity, a solid vegetable garden and maybe some small livestock to keep me and my family fed and healthy. I can fucking wait. I think you mean a 90kg projectile over 300 meters trebuchet gang for life. Ah, I see you two are a man of culture. Have you lived in that kind of isolation before? I have, but I have seen many people fail thinking that's what they wanted. It can be suffocating. If it's what you want, I hope you get it, but just take a measured assessment before you take the dive. Lived in a cabin for some years, not that far from the shot, but I wouldn't see anyone I wouldn't want to see. What people never think is isolation from humans doesn't mean isolation from nature. A forest could emit really creepy noises at night, looking at you damn vixen, and also makes lots of work. It felt like battling it reclaiming a cuphead space at a daily basis. Honestly, just thinking about living in woods seems to scare me because of the isolation. Even though I don't know a lot of people living in the city, I don't know if I would be able to live in the woods without knowing anyone. Too quiet might freak me out tbh. A forest isn't really quiet though. There are a lot of noises that, if someone is unfamiliar with, can be very scary. In an example, a coyote can cry in a way that sounds like a wailing little girl. Crickets can be a constant with other animals and birds making sounds late into the night.